I met Kelly on Plenty of Fish. She didn't like me that much. I knew she was lying to me. I go home mad as hell because I just drove an hour and a half and she stood me up.
Say my name.
Breaking Banquet.
You're goddamn right.
I met Kelly on Plenty of Fish in late 2013. This is after me and Brandy had broke up. So I went back on Plenty of Fish, and Kelly had pictures up where she had lost all this weight, and she had this whole story on her profile how she would walk around her property and stuff like that. And I looked at it, I'm like, hey, I really need this kind of person in my life. Somebody that's this motivated and has this type of experience. If nothing else, I'm going to reach out and be friends with this person. So we get to talking. About February 2014. We've been talking for about 2 months now on Plenty of Fish. We actually were on Facebook at this point. Like, we just moved over from Plenty of Fish's Messenger to Facebook. And she asked me if I wanted to go get a steak dinner. That she's going to get off work here soon. Let's go to Texas Roadhouse, which is down the road. So I'm like, sure. I was in Loris at the time. I was helping my buddy Stan, FBS Hillbilly, if you ever followed my videos. I was helping him, like, put a idler pulley on his Pontiac and get it back on the road. So, like, he lived in Loris at the time, and I had to drive all the way to Murrells Inlet. So, like, it was an hour and a half drive I had to make there. So, like, I start making the drive, and apparently I called her once or twice too many times to let her know I was on the way, and she freaked out, and she stood me up. Right, so she was feeding me lies how she was working late and stuff like that, and all the entire time she's working, I knew she was lying to me because she had her like location on her text messages, and it was telling me exactly where she was sitting at, and I was sitting in the parking lot of her job at that point. No cars were there, so like I go home mad as hell because I just drove an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it might be. It took me 2.5 hours completely to go from Stan's house to her job back to my home. Mad because I didn't get a steak dinner, I didn't get a date, and I just wasted, half a tank of gas. So I was driving my '02 Silverado back then. That bitch got like 12 miles a gallon. So it's not creepy. She told me to meet her at her work. That's how I knew where she worked at, because she gave me the address. So she stood me up, and I came back. And the next day we had PKA, and then I told the how I got stood up on a Plenty of Fish date story. She did get cold feet. So, like, she seen the PKO episode. She called me crying, and her feelings are hurt and stuff like that. But we kept talking. And she goes, do you ever want to go out again? I'm like, if we're going to go out again, you got to come to me. I'm not going to you this time. So we met for the first time in Applebee's in Conway. She ordered chicken tenders with French fries. I ordered club sandwich with French fries. And that was our first date. And no, we went Dutch. I think I had a Pepsi, and I think she did ice water. And we stayed friends we dated 2 or 3 times. We went on 2 or 3 dates after that, but we stayed friends because, like, she didn't like me that much when I was younger because I was a little more atheist back then. And I had testosterone, so I was a little bit more forward. And I wasn't as mature as I was when we got back together. Like, we pretty much stayed friends until like 2018. So we stayed friends for like 4 years. And we always called each other friends with benefit. I always called her my Christian friends with benefits because, like, she wouldn't have sex before marriage. But, like, she'd come and make out and stuff. So that's what we did. So she was my Christian friends with benefits. We would go to movies and we'd make out and things like that. I think what really tipped it over for Kelly was when she got cancer. She basically learned at the same time she probably couldn't have kids. And once kids were off the table, like, I was a lot more appealing because I didn't want kids. And I'd also matured a lot. Yeah, Kelly's cancer got cut out. She had to have her whole entire thyroid removed. Leon, here's the thing, right? Like, I would love to be a father, and I wouldn't mind adopting. But the second I adopted a kid, would be I'd have child protective services at my house every other week because I can barely do a boxing match without people trying to like fuck things up for me. So it's almost pointless to drag a child into that situation. SB98, good game on the fight with wings. Glad Kelly's cancer free. Yeah, me too. Like, she has to be on a buttload of medicine because she don't have a thyroid now, but it's better than the alternative. Melvin, you still got the Pikachu picture on the wall? I mean, that one? Yeah, I still got it. My brother got me that for Christmas one year. I don't talk about Brandy on stream. 360. Like, that corner over there is a little messy. There's some boxes I got to take out. But, like, for the most part, that's the room. I can't have kids. I have low T. And part of low T is having low sperm count. And Kelly can't have kids. Pretty much can't have kids either. I mean, it is what it is. Ever think about joining the military way back? No. When I was a young kid, my Uncle Jerry was in Vietnam, and he had all these photos of like really fucked up shit from Vietnam, because he had like a camera back then, and he was an artillery guy. Like, I can tell you some fucked up Vietnam stories, or at least some stuff he's told me. You shouldn't cheer somebody hit my bitch. I'll tell you one, Apollo, and it's kind of a fucked up one. So my Uncle Jerry used to have this picture of. And I don't know why he was showing like an 8-year-old. Why he showed 8-year-olds these fucking pictures. They terrified me forever. The North Vietnamese were very, very, like, what word would I use it? Mystical. They were very superstitious. So when they blew somebody up with artillery shells, to keep from blowing more of them up with artillery shells, they would create totems. So my Uncle Jerry has like photographs of like people's heads on like sharp sticks. And their arms, they would create these crosses, and they would put the arms and the head on sticks, and they would put them out in the field. And as long as that was out in the field, the North Vietnamese wouldn't cross that field anymore. And they would create and he had multiple pictures of these things, and he had pictures to go with these stories. But it was kind of hard to talk to my Uncle Jerry because he shot artillery guns most of his life, so he's deaf in his ears because he didn't wear his earplugs. And he had these, because he shot these big artillery weapons. And like, you go, Uncle Jerry, how you doing? You know, you got to talk to him like that. Yeah, Uncle Jerry's still around. I met him at the family reunion the other day, and we were talking about diesel trucks, because he had a Dodge Eco Diesel. Uncle Jerry is my grandmother's brother, by the way. He was he was the second boy. He was the first boy. There were 2 boys, but the other boy had SIDS. He died in the crib. I don't know Taylor's wife that well.